I guess down the rabbit hole of building Market Brew.
Oh gosh. Actually, this is such a long story that I actually created a site, ask.thesearchengineer.com. It's like a little personal blog, and it tells, if you really want to go down that rabbit hole. We started in 2006. So uh, Me and my wife actually were building a lot of startups in the Silicon Valley back in around 1999 to 2003
Okay.
period. Built a couple really cool startups. One was a location-based services company that for like cellular companies, and so we were basically building, highly scalable enterprise-grade software for anybody back then. It was
Right.
just
Right.
we're building software businesses, and then we met a couple out of in Florida that had basically cornered the Key West hotel market. And what they had done is they had like basically figured out how to, hack Google to get to the number one position. And then he went to every single hotel in Key West and just said, "Hey, hire me and I'll get you to the
I can
top."
get you to number one.
And so I thought this is so fascinating from a software perspective. I just thought it was like one of the most challenging software problems that you could solve as a computer science type of a person. And so me being sort of getting my main weakness is that I get bored in things. I lose interest unless I'm
Yeah.
like super passionate about it. So I just thought, what a great career to like go down or at least try. So he had approached me because he knew us just personally, and he was like, "Hey, would it be possible to like do what I did in Key West and just do it in like every city in the world?" And I was like, "Yeah, no, that wouldn't be a problem." And he's like, "Wait a minute, what?"
Yeah.
And that was the beginning of my intro to SEO. So I learned like all of how he was hacking Google. And mind you, like I'm more of the search engineer. So I didn't go to work
Right.
at Google, but I would have been a Google search engineer basically. And in fact, Google tried to hire me and I said no. And so basically the idea behind it was, relative technically simple, from my perspective, just because of all the software we had already written, and you could put this together and that together, and it would just make it happen basically. And so we did a couple prototypes, and immediately he was just like, "I don't understand. Like, how did you do this overnight? Like, how is this working right
Right.
now?" And I was like, that's just what I do. I'm good at, I'm good at
Yeah.
making things on paper come true very quickly, and whatever. So we started a company. Back then we called it SEO Engine,
Okay.
and it basically just the idea was to take what he had done in Key West and proliferate it, across every city. And I started learning that Google, what we were really doing is we're exploiting loopholes in specific algorithms, and then Google would see that happen because they would see their
They
search
would fix it.
results. Yeah, and so they'd be like, "How do
Yeah.
we fix this? Oh, it's because of this." And so so there was this cat and mouse game, so much so that we obviously I went ballistic on it, because I literally just could I could hack any of the algorithms that were hackable. And so I was doing so my wife and I, who had built a couple moderately successful companies in the past, we kind of looked at each other, we're like, this is not a very good long-term solution, right? Like, it's not a good long-term, it's a very interesting field, but like we're it's like every month there's like something
You
we
have
have
to
to
change and
redo.
fix something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just not something you can build and scale and make it become passive. And so the idea behind that was just sort of well, actually, my wife Maura, she studied architecture at Cornell University, so completely
Okay.
opposite of I went to Carnegie Mellon for computer engineering. But she came up with it. She's like, wouldn't it be a great product to have to build a search engine that literally did what Google is refusing to do, which is to open up their search engine and show people how it works, like show each
Right.
algorithm, show why you score better than the other site on this algorithm, show how a search engine works. So we filed a patent in 2006, a provisional in 2006, and then later on a bunch of others, and trademarks and all that stuff around it. And basically was way ahead of our time. There was no need when Google was sharing most of the information at that
Right.
time. There really wasn't that big of a need for such a high powered solution, like building your own search engine to uncover this. But then as time went on, as we come to present day, it's been less and less information they're willing to divulge. And we always saw search, I actually just got done with a webinar with Steve Wiedemann out of LA, and were talking about this. He was saying, new search engines. Have you looked at the, and some of the other new search engines that are coming out? And I said, I think the only thing, you have to have something very unique to stand out, right? Like you have to
Yeah.
be competitively unique. And I really don't think that a search engine is going to be coming by and knocking Google off its pedestal until they have something truly different. And I
Yeah.
think one of those things I've always viewed is like, if let's say one of the competing search engines were to buy out like software like Market Brew and integrate that and basically just open it up and show business owners like this is how you need to do SEO, put everybody on the level playing field so that the brick and mortar world, more mirrors the online virtual, the search engine result pages. You're not getting clipped by Bob and Tom's business when
Right.
there's no way that and so what ends up happening with Google is it's just the opposite. That's exactly what happens. You have companies that have very smart people, whether you call them black hat or whatever, those people are going to thrive where normal business owners who really don't want SEO as like their primary thing in their world, that affects them so much because they just don't understand it and they don't have the same grasp for it. And so anyway, so that's sort of the very short story of how Market Brew got to where we are.